Okay, good morning, everyone. Just so everyone knows, I just started recording. So for anyone that is not able to join us today, we'll have this available later on. We typically try to post this on YouTube, fingers crossed. So hopefully we'll be able to get this up and available for folks later on. Um, my name is Jeff Lightnum. I'm the sales rep for Chicago Title here in Buffalo. And we do this every year for our examining counsel and licensed title agents. And welcome to the data call. For those folks that are new, this is a pretty, I would say, not easy, but pretty simplified exercise. And it's required by New York State and the Department of Financial Services in conjunction with TIRSA. This is administered by Fidelity National Financial, our parent company. The portal is administered by Fidelity. We designed it. And every year we have tried to simplify this portal and make it as easy as possible for our examining counsel. I try to assist in the best way possible to get our ECs through this, offering training or one-on-one sessions, walk people through this as best I can. It shouldn't take much more than 20 minutes to 30 minutes or so for you to get through this. We try to help you input your income and expenses as they relate to title insurance in the best way possible. So with that said, we're going to go through this step by step. There's about 45 fields to go through here, 4 pages, and then a summary page. And then we'll show you how to submit and get through this. I'll try to make it interactive. If you have questions, feel free to stop me and we'll go through. With that, I'm going to share my screen. And we'll get started. Okay, so hopefully everybody can see this screen right here. And also you'll note in the chat window here, if you want to take a look, I did post an email address. If you're having trouble logging in, obviously you can always reach out to me or your sales rep in your particular market. But there is an email address for support. It is datacalls@fnf.com. Again, that is in the chat window there. They will be able to help you getting set up. About a year or two ago, we did implement multi-factor authentication. So if you don't remember your password, or you have to do a forgot password, or if your account is locked out and you're having trouble, that support team will be able to assist you. This is a demo site right here. So it will be very similar to what will look like for you when you log in. So right here, I'm going to be logging in with my username and password. If you need help signing in, you can click on this link right here, and there'll be ways for you to do that, whether it's through your mobile or your email address. So I'm going to sign in. And this takes me to my first screen here. I'm going to be selecting, these are dummy accounts right here. So I'm going to be selecting for Dillon and Associates. And this is the first screen that I come to here. This is the welcome screen here and the introduction. Again, this is a little overview of what the data call is all about. If you have multiple underwriters for Fidelity, whether it be with Fidelity National or Chicago Title or Commonwealth, you'll see those different underwriters over here. This particular customer has only one, which is Fidelity. So this right here, you would click on this link right here, and it would take you right to here. And little instruction window here that pops up, how to complete forms on this site. So this comes up every time, and you can read through all of these little helpful hints on how to complete the form. We're going to run through all of these with me here today, so I am going to close this window. Now, this is also another window that's going to pop up for you. It's going to ask you if you have written premiums for Zone 1 or Zone 2. Folks here in the Buffalo market, for the most part, if you're doing residential transactions here in Buffalo, you are going to be writing in Zone 1. If you happen to be writing some transactions in maybe perhaps in Albany, or if you are happen to do some transactions in the New York City area, you may have written some transactions for Zone 2. So take a look at that and think about where you had written some of your transactions. So if you want to click on those, you can click yes, you can click no, you hit submit, and it will automatically populate these little checkboxes here for you. You can always change them later and double click them right over here. Now, when that happens, these columns will open up or gray out for you. So if you happen to be in the Buffalo area, like where I am, and some of our ECs are, if you only wrote for Zone 1, you don't have to worry about anything in Zone 2, and this will be completely grayed out. If you did write in Zone 2, you need to open this up and populate your income and expenses in this column. How do you know? We're going to let you know about that. Jeff, how do I find out if I have income and revenues where I wrote policies from 2024? I get this question a lot every year. Click this link right up here. Click here to view income data. And here it is. Every year, we populate your revenue for endorsements, policies, and special charges in this box. You can write this down, take a screenshot, print it out, however you like, but you're going to use this to input into your income section in page 1. Okay, so this particular customer right here wrote a lot of title insurance last year. So you had in Zone 1, they had 54 endorsements with 301 policies, 808 endorsements in Zone 2 with 11 policies. Again, these are just dummy numbers, but you can see for Zone 1, with the amount of money that they wrote, Zone 2, and then they would put in all of that money right into these boxes right here. Your item count would be the number of, I'm just gonna put in these numbers here. Just so that you can see it. And I'm gonna block out Zone 2. So I'm putting these in just for you to all to see these. So endorsements. And special charges, typically you see it 0. Now, this is very important. You might want to take notes on this, is the amount remitted to underwriter. Now, this will depend on, as an EC, what your split is, what your split arrangement is with your underwriter. So if you are for example, a 60-40 split arrangement with Chicago Title, if you retain 60%, that means 40% is going back to the underwriter of the premium, right? If you are not splitting endorsements, that means you take 40% of the revenue from policy charges plus 100% of the revenue from endorsements. Take those numbers and populate it here into revenue for amount remitted to underwriter. Does that make sense to everybody? Closing and escrow income for examining counsel, this is typically going to be 0. This would typically be an agent's number. Related income, again, for examining counsel, 0. Other income, again, 0. These are typically numbers that would be populated by an agent. Here at the bottom, you're going to click either save or next. When you click next, it will automatically save for you and take you to page 2. Another important thing at the top right here, your form progress. You're at 10% right now. You will not be allowed to submit your form until you reach 100%. So here we are now at expenses. Again, this form was sort of designed for agencies. When we talk about our examining counsel, we don't typically see a lot of expenses related to for these related to examining counsel here. So abstract and search fees, you don't see these. These are passed on to the customer. Survey expenses, no. Reading expenses, closer fees, legal counsel fees, copies, municipal charges, typing expenses. Where we do start to see expenses is here on page 3. So the DFS is going to expect to see some expense with regard to salary. And what we have to think about is even if you're a solo practitioner, you would even still be considered an employee. And we're not looking for your salary total for what you made at from 2024. We're looking for the salary as it relates to your business and title insurance from last year. And the best way to describe this would be if the amount from the income data, so say the title insurance revenue from last year, say it represents 15% of your firm's overall revenues, then take 15% of your salary or your employee's salary and apply it here. Now, there's a button right here to click, action required. They're looking for the top 5 salaries of your firm. So if there are 5 employees that are working on title insurance or real estate, they would be input here. And they're looking not for the names, but for the titles. So you have attorney, now salary, and then say it's 15%, for example, and say that attorney, say their salary was 200,000 last year and 15%, so you could put 30,000. And then you have paralegal. Okay, so then you could put in 15% of, say $50,000 there, so 7,500. Then say there's no one else, so you would put NA and 0. And all of these fields do have to be populated. Keep in mind. Hit return. And then go back and take the sum total of this. So 30,000 plus 7,500. And populate that here. Employee benefits. Again, if you pay benefits out of your firm, again, take that percentage, apply it here, 15%. You can input that here. Payroll taxes. A number can be put in here. Again, I always say the best guide would be to apply that 15% straight down the line. If you pay rent annually, take that sum, apply that percentage. Or if you own your building, for real estate expenses, say your mortgage, put that in here. Same thing for real estate taxes. Licenses, say you pay your biannual license to the DFS for your title agency license, that could be placed in there. Advertising and marketing and promotional expenses, they would not be looking to see any expenses here in this box or this window here. Because of Regulation 208, the DFS does not expect any expenses here. Please ensure that you are putting in a number in every field, because it will count towards your form progress. Nothing needs to be put in this gray window here. You can ignore that. Same thing would need to be put into marketing and promotional. Please go through and populate this entire box. Policy issuance expense. There's only two here. And then you can move on to page 4. And we're moving right through here. This is actually the last page. Again, general expenses, you can take a look through here. They're generally, and again, you can see here in this little small print, Tersa is not expecting any data to be entered in this section that can be applied in other lines. So look at the details here. Employee expenses while traveling. Typically not transportation, hotels, meals and beverages, entertainment. Definitely not going to want to see anything there. Sporting tickets. Printing and office supplies. Again, you may see some expenses here as it relates to your title insurance, postage, telephone and freight. Yeah, if you're sending out UPS and FedEx for a lot of your closings and things like that. Again, a general rule of thumb, taking that percentage, applying it if you're calculating those expenses. Equipment depreciation and rental. There's another expense item. Errors and omissions insurance, if you're malpractice. Again, our ECs with Chicago Title, we do require errors and omissions coverage as part of your malpractice to be an EC. So you can take a percentage and apply that here. Other insurance, typically we don't see here. Generally, that's a 0. Director's fees, typically a 0 as applies to title insurance. Boards and associations, same thing. Legal and auditing. Interest is typically usually 0. Here's another box to go and go through here. We typically don't see much in here. Any CLEs, possibly. If you go to the real estate CLE every year, you might want to put that expense in there. Definitely don't want to see any gifts or company outings. Tersa is not going to want to see that. And interest. Okay, last item right here. Number of employees. This is one we're going to want to see an item on here. And again, if you're a solo practitioner, you still want to populate this here. And even if you say title insurance again is at only 0.15%, 15%, you can put in 0.15. Or say it's only 50% of your business, you can put in 50%. If you have 3 people and they're only doing a quarter of their time to title insurance, you can add that up, 75.75 for 3 people total. Okay, so it all depends. Take a look at that. If you have multiple people in there, say, title insurance is the firm's sole business and you have, 5 people involved in it. You can have 5 people. So again, take a look at your business. Be sure and see how you populate that one. That one is important. Okay, next here. Now, I know this one is not going to completely gel, but you have a summary box here. And what this is going to show is your gross, your retained, your total title, non-title income, which should be 0 because you are an EC and not an agent. So you should not have any non-title income reported here. You're going to have expenses. We definitely want to show expenses on here, and we're going to want to show a net percentage. My general rule of thumb for ECs is to be anywhere between 10% and 50%. We do want to show some profit. We don't want to show 100% profit. From what I understand, the DFS uses this exercise for rate setting purposes. So every year they're collecting this information, they're going back, they're reviewing this, and they're taking a look at what agents are making. So we want to show that it's not 100% profit. There is some expense related to generating title insurance. That's why this exercise is so important. And I want to make sure that our ECs are filling it out to the best of their ability. Once you are at 100%, as you can see right here, we're only at 40% because we did not complete everything. Once you are at 100% and you are completed with everything here, if you want to go ahead and view it and save this, you can go ahead and click this little button right here, and you'll get a PDF form. And you'll get something like this right here. And you can save that, and you can actually use this as a guide for the next year. Keep this for your records. It's a nice little form to keep for years to come. But once you are ready to submit, you hit the validate button. And then it will say it's been saved and validated, and you can proceed to the review page. Now I'm going to get a whole lot of warnings here because I didn't finish and I'm only at 40%. So what does that mean? I need to go back and complete, right? Once I am done though, I am going to have all of these things eliminated right here. I may still get this warning right here. Amount remitted to underwriter, line 5. Based on the gross title insurance charges entered, the amount remitted to underwriter does not fall within the expected range. Please verify. This is considered a non-critical warning. Do not be surprised if you get this warning. Again, like I mentioned earlier, this form, was created generally for agencies. So this system is somewhat expecting a range for agencies. So this is a non-critical warning. You can still submit your form with a non-critical warning. Okay, so I would say just about everybody, almost everybody gets this non-critical warning, and then you can still submit with this. It may go to your administrator, someone like me, or someone within your branch that they have to go and approve it and review the form. So they may come back with some questions, or you may have to go back and review it again. But You can still submit with this morning. So, while we're still on this form here, I'm going to go back. Does anybody have any questions right now? Really? That's easy.
You need the headset?
No.
Oh, you need this.
No questions?
Hang on.
Can we get a copy of last year's?
Your last year's submission?
Yeah.
I don't think so. But I can check. I can check. Is that Matt?
Yep.
Okay, Matt. Let me check and see.
Thanks, Jeff.
Just going through my notes to make sure I covered everything for you all. Okay. So no one had any questions about the amount remitted to underwriter, the salary information, anything like that? Those are usually the biggest ones that I get questions on. Okay. Well, again, like I mentioned, if you do have questions, if you do, and again, it's the login that sometimes can be the biggest problem, I think, for people to log in. If you are having issues, does everybody see this right here? If you're having trouble logging in, here's an email address, datacalls@fnf.com. Again, feel free to reach out to your rep, myself, or your rep in your branch. Don't hesitate. But other than that, I think we finished in record time this year. Half an hour, not bad. Okay, well, everyone, I will let you go. Thank you for joining us this year. And I hope everyone has a wonderful afternoon.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, buddy.